Can begin their case in chief. Do you have a first witness to call?
Defense calls Jesse Decker to the stand.
Ms. Decker, you may take your stand. Just remember you have been previously sworn in. You may begin when you're ready.
Good morning. Well, what's your name?
My name is Jensen Decker.
What do you do for a living?
I'm a board-certified psychologist.
How long have you been a psychologist?
15 years.
Do you specialize?
Yes, I'm a criminal psychologist. I have extensive experience as an expert witness and have testified in over 50 trials.
What do you know about arsonists?
Arsonists are people that set things on fire, and they usually have most or all of the characteristics of an arsonist.
What are the characteristics of arsonists?
There are 4 characteristics of an arsonist. 1, they are usually in the age between late 20s and 40s. Gray is 24. 2, they are usually unemployed. Gray worked for the pub that burned down. 3, they have at least finished the 10th grade, which Gray did drop out of high school. 4, they usually have emotional issues, which in sessions Gray did not.
So you could say that Ms. Whitney Gray did not fit the characteristics of an arsonist.
Yes, I do.
Do you believe Ms. Gray is the arsonist?
No, I don't.
Are you receiving payment for your services?
Yes, I'm being paid by Ashton Bellows.
Why is he paying for Ms. Gray's services?
Well, having a fee is part of my job, and Bellows is paying because Miss Gray is out of work and financially incapable to pay.
Your Honor, no further questions.
Thank you very much. Do we have a cross-examination of this witness? You may begin when you're ready.
As you know, Whitney is 24 years old. And in your affidavit, you say that most arsonists are 25 to 40, correct?
Yes,
And you say that most of them has finished the 10th grade, correct?
yes, I do.
And then you talk about arsonists, how their plans are well planned out.
Yes,
And as you know, there was a coffee pot lying on the floor with a stripping heat gun next to it and a rag full of stripping liquid.
yes.
When you were paid by Ashton Bellows, was there any bias in your affidavit talking about how Whitney is not an arsonist?
No, not really.
And arsonists are secretly proud of their work, aren't they?
Yes.
Okay, no further questions, Your Honor.
Thank you very much. Ms. Decker, you may take your seat. Does the defense have a second witness?
I would like to call Ashley Bellows.
Ms. Bellows, you may take the witness stand. Just remember you have been previously sworn. You may begin when you're ready.
Please introduce yourself to the court.
My name is Ashton Bellows. I am 24 years old.
Where do you work?
I was a co-owner of Bellows and O'Brien Pub.
What is your involvement in this case?
My business burned down and I'm being accused of the arson as well as insurance fraud.
On the night of the fire, did you leave before me?
Lane volunteered to close up that night. I found that strange, actually. Lane is always lazy at work, trying to get everyone else to do all the difficult stuff.
Tell me more about his laziness.
Rarely did any of the real work. He mostly just sat in the basement all day. Occasionally, he'd head upstairs to make sure everything was running smoothly, but he never took the extra measure to get any work done.
Have you ever seen Lane smoking in the basement?
Yes, several times. Not to mention that almost every time he came upstairs, he reeked of cigarettes.
What is you and Lane's relationship like?
When we first opened the pub 7 years ago, our relationship was great. Back then, Lane was great with getting work done, but as soon as the excitement wore off, I began to see Lane's true colors. We had to hire Whitney to keep the pub in business.
How is yours and Whitney's relationship?
Whitney became the enthusiastic, hardworking friend I once expected Lane to be. Over the years, we've grown a friendship that goes outside work. Before the fire, we'd even discussed possibly starting our own business somewhere else.
In your opinion, who had the most motive to set the pub on fire?
As much as I hate to think about it, the only person who actually had any motive was Lane. He was broke and was coming pretty close to the deadline to buy me out. I certainly don't need the insurance money. I could wait a few more months for Lane, and although I was getting a little worried, I trusted Lane to get me my money. I just never thought he would do something like this. Once Whitney and I left, the pub was bound to go out of business. With Lane's work ethic, nothing would get done.
To your knowledge, did anyone go in the basement on the night of July 4th?
Yes, I saw Lane head down there as Whitney and I were leaving.
No further questions.
Thank you very much. We have a cross-examination of this witness. You may begin when you're ready.
Ms. Bellows, how long have you known Miss Gray?
Since high school.
And what is your current relationship with Miss Gray?
We're pretty good friends.
You would say that you trust her, do you not?
Yes, of course.
And we also have eyewitness accounts stating that you and Miss Gray were talking about arson prior to the fire. Is this true?
Yes, but we were talking about her asking me to give her a to whom it may concern reference for a different job.
But you do not deny that you were talking about arson.
Yes, but it was not about the arson that occurred on the night of July 4th.
Also on the night of the fire, your fingerprints were found on a gas can in Miss Gray's car. Can you explain this?
Yes, it was for mowing the lawn at the pub.
There was also a confirmed accelerant of excess gas found in the basement of the pub. Can you explain this?
That's not mine, that was Lane's.
But if it was... So you were running out of the pub, were you not?
I'm sorry?
You were running out of the pub, were you not?
Oh, yes.
But you were also beginning to tire waiting for Mr. O'Brien to buy you out, correct?
Not exactly. We agreed on a deadline, and I was willing to wait till then.
And you also increased the insurance on the building within a span of 1 month, correct?
Yes, for the heirlooms that Lane brought in.
And you do not deny that while tiring of waiting to be bought out within 1 month of increasing the insurance on the property by $100,000, you were overheard by Mr. O'Brien talking about arson with Miss Gray, who you're brutally close friends with and trust, do you not?
I wasn't getting tired of waiting.
No further questions.
Thank you very much. Ms. Bellows, you may take your seat. Does the defense have a final witness?
Yes, Your Honor. We call Whitney Gray to the stand.
You may begin when you're ready. Ms. Gray, just remember you've been previously sworn in.
Please introduce yourself to the court.
Good morning. My name is Whitney Gray.
Where do you work?
Well, currently I'm unemployed, but I did work at Bellows and O'Brien.
And how long have you worked there?
I have worked there since almost as long as it's been opened.
What was your position?
I was caretaker and groundskeeper.
Did you ever have any sort of promotion?
I had recently asked for one, but Ashton said that the money was too tight.
Now, was your name ever on their insurance policy?
My name was not on the insurance policy and never was.
Now, I'm going to ask about your relationship. What was your relationship with both Lane O'Brien and Ashton Bellows?
Well, I respect both my bosses, but Ashton and I, we were more friends, and then Lane and I were more strictly boss and worker.
Now, I know it was 10 years ago, but to the court, it has some relevance. Did you ever mention your previous arson to the owners?
Yes, I did. I mentioned it at the very first meeting.
And how did you feel right now about committing that arson?
Well, it was the worst thing that I've ever done. I'm extremely remorseful, and I've done just about everything I can just to make it up and just make it right. And if someone would have gotten hurt in that fire, I have no idea. I just would have never forgiven myself.
Miss Gray, it's okay. That's the past. We're fine with it. Now, let's talk about the specific night. Where were you the night of July 4th?
I was at Bellows and O'Brien's working at the pub.
When did you leave the pub?
I left around midnight because Ashton dismissed me a little bit early so I could get a good night rest of sleep.
Were Ashton and Lane there when you left?
Lane was in the basement cleaning up his chemicals and heirlooms, and Ashton was counting the money on the bar.
Where did you go after you left work?
I went straight to my house and went to sleep. I was exhausted.
Now, when the fire broke out, where were you?
I was asleep in my bed at my house.
And when did you hear about the fire?
I found out about the fire around 4:50 a.m. and immediately rushed to the pub. I was still a little groggy and didn't really comprehend the words until I got to the fire, and so my whole life, my reputation, go up in the flames.
Now, at the fire, what were you talking to Ashton about?
Ashton was being a great friend. I had asked him for a letter of recommendation for interviews in the future, and Ashton knew it would be troublesome for me to find a new job.
And lastly, I know you have asthma, so how would the fire exhaust and the chemicals affect you?
Well, fire and chemicals didn't make my asthma worse. I start coughing a lot, and that's why I couldn't go into the basement while Lane was using the things to furnish his heirlooms.
So you're saying that if you were around the chemicals constantly, then it could have affected you, such as like passing out or not being able to, comprehend things?
Yes.
Your Honor, I have no further questions.
Thank you very much. Do we have a cross-examination of this witness?
Ms. Whitney, you've known Ashton for almost all of your life.
Yes.
Would you say that you two have a closer relationship than you and Lane?
Yes, we are more friends.
Some think that you would do almost anything for her.
I would do anything except for break the law.
Okay. Whitney, you were involved with arson once before,
I was.
so this wouldn't be your first encounter with the arson incident.
It would not.
You say you want to become a firefighter,
I did want to, but I couldn't because of my asthma.
so you decided to study in the field of a fire investigator.
I did.
Would you say that you know a lot about fires?
Well, I should if I'm taking classes for it.
Okay. With all of this knowledge of fires, would you say that you know how to prevent or even start a fire?
Oh, yes.
No further questions, Your Honor?
Thank you very much. You may return to your seat, Ms. Gray. With no more witnesses from the defense, the court will take another 5-minute recess, and we will come back and begin closing arguments. We will begin with closing arguments. Prosecution, you may begin when you're ready.
May it please the court, opposing counsel, members of the jury, setting fires may get you burned. Today you've heard the events leading up to and preceding the events of July 5th, in which the popular pub, Bellows and O'Brien, went up in flames under very, very suspicious circumstances. You've also heard testimonies from Mr. O'Brien, the devastated pub owner who helped prove the connection between Miss Gray and Miss Bellows, Mr. Eaton Barr, our beloved town fire marshal, who helped confirm that the evidence of arson was present, and Miss Burke, one of our brave firefighters who helped bring Miss Gray's previous arsons to light and all suspicious activity at the fire that night. We've also seen eyewitness accounts of Miss Gray and the Bellows talking about arson prior to the fire, the hefty illusion of gasoline's use of accelerant in the arson with the gas can being found in Miss Gray's car, the evidence of an increase by Miss Ashton Bellows within 1 month of the fire. Miss Whitney Gray has been charged with arson after Bellows and O'Brien, a popular pub in the town, burned in the late evening of July 4th. She is being accused of purposely causing severe damage to the pub. Remember, setting fires can get you burned. Now that we've presented our evidence, I am standing before you to ask for a verdict of guilty.
Thank you very much, prosecution. Defense, would you like to give your closing statement?
Yes, Your Honor. May it please the court, opposing counsel, members of the jury. Assumptions, accusations, and arson. Whitney Gray is being accused of burning down Bellows and O'Brien, a popular pub in the site of her most recent employment. However, Whitney desperately needed the job, therefore burning down the establishment would negatively affect her current flow of income, and arson would destroy her dreams and aspirations of working as a fire investigator. Blaine O'Brien was the only one who used the basement, the locations of the accelerators used to keep the fire going. Blaine needed the money, he was almost broke, and he immediately started pointing fingers when the fire started. Whitney has asthma, so she cannot be near smoke. Therefore, she wouldn't be able to start the fire without being passed out and not being able to breathe. Whitney will not ruin her reputation again for a fire that would not benefit her lifelong dreams. Ms. Whitney Gray is being charged with arson after Bellows and O'Brien, a local pub, was burned down on the evening of July 4th. She's being accused of purposely causing serious damage to the pub. Assumptions, accusations, and arson. Now that we have presented our evidence, I am standing before you for a verdict of not guilty.
Thank you very much, defense. With that, I believe the case of People v. Gray has been concluded. The judges of this round, we will be handing out some ballots to our members of the class who are technically our jury, and we will be getting some feedback from them. And while that is happening, feel free to talk amongst yourselves.
Big round of applause for everybody.
Yes.
That was awesome. We just want to let everyone know that y'all did absolutely fantastic, okay? Y'all did an absolutely fantastic job. I could not be more proud of all of y'all. You made me so happy that we have a good base of mock trialers for college when y'all get there. Here at UGA, if you go there, which I completely recommend. Any other...
Not that we're biased.
Yes. So, in the case of People v. Gray, the defendant Whitney Gray has been found not guilty. So congratulations, Whitney Gray is not going to jail. All right, here we go. So we have 2 awards, like we said. We're going to be giving out the most valuable attorney and the most valuable witness for this round. This was a very, very hard decision because all of y'all are fantastic and make me feel great that y'all have done everything we wanted you to do.
Yeah, to put it in perspective, for college, we get about 3 months to prepare a case, and they had 4 days of working until 3 in the afternoon. So they did an excellent job. getting through the case, writing everything, picking up on the incredibly vast amount of information that we threw at them. So we're very proud of all of them, but with that, we will give out the Outstanding Attorney and Witness Awards.
You want to do attorney, I'll do witness?
Sure.
And I'm sure all you parents are just going to absolutely love us for this. Not only will your child be getting a piece of paper award, they're going to be getting sugar as well. So yeah, it's going to be absolutely, they get wild berry Skittles. Okay, so we'll start with the witness. I'm super proud of everything that happened with this witness in trial. Our most valuable witness for outstanding work as a witness in the case of People v. Gray goes to Miss Sarah Adams. Here's your piece of paper and Skittles.
Do not eat all the Skittles. And for the Outstanding Attorney Award, we're proud of all of you, but for this trial, the Most Valuable Attorney Award goes to Jessica Davis.
I love Skittles.
All right, that concludes everything we have to do for trial number 1. Thank you, parents. Thank you so much.